And we're back on WGN-TV Political Report. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court will hear a case from Mississippi that addresses one of the nation's most divisive questions. Should abortion protections laid out in Roe v. Wade remain the law of the land? For the first time in years, a 6-3 conservative court is set to put that debate to rest in a case that will lay out whether or not individual states can ban abortions prior to viability of a fetus. Well, my next guest takes readers inside the complicated life of Jane Roe, whose controversial case put the issue of abortion in the forefront of American political culture. Joshua Prager is a journalist who spent hundreds of hours with Norma McCorvey, the woman behind Jane Roe, and the baby at the center of her case. The latest book is called The Family Roe, An American Story. Joshua, good morning. Thank you for joining me. Your book, The Family Roe, absolutely fascinating. And I think because while everybody just talks about, Roe versus Wade and the law and all of that, you knew the real Jane Roe. That was not her name. You got to know her. So, give my viewers a little sense of who the real Jane Roe, named her real name, Norma McCorvey, who she was, because she was a complex figure.
Very complicated. She was born in Louisiana, moved to Texas when she was a kid, and she lived in a real broken home. Her mother had actually had a child taken away from her. She'd given birth when she was 17 years old, but she wasn't married yet. And her parents felt that she wasn't able to raise that child. So they took the child from her and raised that child as her own. And after that happened, Norma's mother, Mary, became an alcoholic. She had affairs with many of the men she served drinks to in the bars where she worked in Texas. And so this was the home Norma grew up in. And sex and religion were often sort of at loggerheads. The family were Jehovah's Witnesses, and Norma renounced religion when she was a teenager. She got in trouble a lot. She was sent away to schools for quote unquote delinquent children. And when she was about 14, 15, she came out to her mother, said she was gay. Her mother beat her for that. Her mother told me about that unapologetically. And then when Norma was 16 years old, she got married, soon thereafter divorced, had a child, relinquished that child to adoption. Actually, it was her mother, Mary, who raised that child, even though Norma later said that her mother kidnapped the child. The child was actually adopted at Norma's.
So, in fact, so Norma actually had like 3 children. We only know about the Roe baby. And I think a lot of people out there in the audience think, well, she got that abortion. There is no Roe baby. And you uncover the fact, oh, viewer, you are wrong. There is a Roe baby, and her name is
Exactly. So she had the child when she was 16, had another child, and then she was pregnant for the 3rd time when she was 22 years old. She relinquished the 2 previous children to adoption. And, obviously, when you think about it, hey, a law case takes longer than the gestation of a baby. And so, she actually gets pregnant in 1969, files Roe in 1970. Roe isn't decided until 1973. And by that time, that child, the 3rd child, the child the pro-life referred to as the Roe baby, had been born and placed for adoption.
You have talked to the Roe baby, right? I mean, basically, she's tried to stay out of the limelight. She's not making this a cause célèbre. So talk a little bit about her. And of course, a lot of the folks who are pro-life out there are going to say, see, good thing she didn't have the abortion. Here's this life, this person now in her 50s. So tell us a little bit about her and what her view of this is.
You're right. The pro-life had long wondered, who is this person, this unknown child? And they said, whoever that is, he or she is the sort of living incarnation of our argument against abortion. Because had Roe not been the law, or had Roe been the law, you would have killed this child. That's what they would say. Well, Shelley is her name, Shelley Thornton. She was 18 years old when someone came over to her and said, I was sent by your birth mother to find you. It turned out it was someone from the National Enquirer. And they said, we're going to write about you whether you like it or not. Shelley prevailed upon them not to at least include her name. But all those years, she struggled with this feeling that she had a secret, and also with this feeling that she was a symbol. She didn't like that. And finally, when I approached her, she said, okay, I'm going to tell my story. And one thing that was very helpful to her is she wanted to find her 2 half-siblings, the other children Norma had given birth to and placed for adoption. And in my book, I write about how all 3 of them came together and discussed their lives.
You also, by the way, when you met Norma, or at some point in that relationship, you were given access to all of her papers and stuff, and you offered them to her, and she's like, I don't want them.
Yeah. When I was looking, what got me into this was the desire to find the Roe baby. And I didn't know how I might find her. Well, I reached out to Norma, who wasn't going to help me. And then I reached, because she said I had to pay her. I explained I couldn't do that. I ended up finding Norma's private papers in the garage of her former home, where she lived with a woman named Connie Gonzalez. Those papers were about to be thrown out because the house was being foreclosed on. I said to Norma, do you want these papers? Like you said, she said no. I ended up buying them from her, and those papers are now at a research library at Harvard.
So the court, of course, hearing a case from Mississippi that would bring the number of weeks down that a woman could get an abortion to about 15. Just sort of curious, when people read your book, The Family Roe, what impact do you think that will have on people's political or maybe legal views of what should happen here?
Yeah, it's a good question. Lawrence Tribe, constitutional scholar, wrote a book called The Clash of Absolutes. In that book, he says that it's incumbent upon us to sort of write about the human reality on each side of the versus in terms of Roe versus Wade. That's what my book does. It humanizes the issue. It helps the people look at this not through politics or law, but through people. And I think when you do that, no matter how sure you are about where you stand, you realize that abortion is fraught for good reason. If nothing else, I think people will appreciate the complexity of this issue. On the one hand, the humanity of the fetus. On the other, the very real reasons that a woman might wish to have an abortion.
So just about a half a minute left, but you are a journalist and you let us know in the book that you do have a view on this issue, and it is pro-choice. You even had to wrestle with what terms to use. Why are you the fair figure to be talking about this then?
I think because people, I refer to both sides as the terms they wish, pro-life, pro-choice. I let people speak for themselves. I treated both of them with empathy and understanding. And I think so often, even just the term, when you say, oh, anti-abortion or anti-choice, you don't even give the person to state who they are. I let people speak for themselves. I got rid of the propaganda. I got rid of the rhetoric, and I just told the story.
Joshua Prager, the book is The Family Roe. It gives insight that anybody who follows the issue of abortion at all, we don't know anything about this story, but we do thanks to your work, and I thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more Political Report after these words. Stay with us.